Of course, we cannot begin this video without me telling you about these two books here, Winged Horse Rider and Halves Vault, the first two books in the War of Tears saga. They are my books and are already available in the links below in Amazon, in digital format always, and they should be in physical format, but Amazon just sometimes decides to take them out. Yeah, he does that sometimes, so yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in 2 seconds. Enjoy the video. Hello everybody, I am ARTE, author of the War of Tears saga, and welcome to Analyzing Fiction. I will be your host for today, and we are going to be talking about Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, book 4 in the Harry Potter series. And before we begin, I'm going to be challenging myself with saying so yeah as few times as possible. So almost said it once. That will be my objective for this video, and hopefully I will manage to say it even less and less as my channel goes on. So thank you, and let's begin with the POW, the Possibles Malediction, POW from its acronym in Spanish, and it's going to be a... Damn, this smells good, guys. So yeah, this gets a 9 out of 10, almost a 10. I loved it. As always, if you want to know about J.K. Rowling's life, you can go check the Philosopher's Stone, the first video. There I give pretty much everything about J.K. Rowling, so you can go there. If not, you can go to the Chamber of Secrets, where I give a shorter version of her biography. Right now I'm just going to skip ahead and talk about this, the plot for this book. And Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. It is the 4th book of the series, and this represents the transition from middle grade fiction to YA fiction. So middle grade is often like 10 years old, 10 years of age and lower, while YA tends to be 10 to 16 years old regarding its audience. So this book 4, 5, 6, and 7 in the Harry Potter series, they are more YA fiction, while the Philosopher's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, and the Prisoner of Azkaban, they tend to be more middle grade. They tend to be for younger audiences, and that is something great about Harry Potter, that it grows along its audience. So each book shows things that previous ones did not. Each book is a little darker than the last one, and it's a little more mature. So yeah, said it one time there. This book is the first one that can be considered YA fiction, and this means that Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire is darker, and as you should know, because the plot for this book is very well known, it is actually. So Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire is about Harry Potter, who has to compete in this tournament known as the Triwizard Tournament, which is very dangerous, which is the reason why it has not been done in a long time, and it is done between Hogwarts, Beauxbatons in France, and Durmstrang in Russia, I believe. So those are the 3 schools, and for a very long time it has not been done because of how dangerous it was. So when they decided to do it this year, they decided to put an age limit, right? They said that anyone below 17 years old was not going to enter the contest. But of course, Harry Potter, a 14-year-old boy, of course he enters, and of course he has to compete, and of course he technically wins. So this is the story of the Goblet of Fire, how Harry has to compete in this competition, and how he almost loses his life about 20 times. It is also very interesting how he develops his dynamic with Sirius Black, with Ron, with Hermione, with Hagrid and Dumbledore, and many more characters that I will be discussing later on. So this has essentially been the plot. I think I made some mistakes here and there. Please don't blame those on me. Now I will start giving you my review for this book. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. I hope that I did not destroy your ears earlier on. I keep forgetting that this microphone here just hates me and wants me to speak softly. So yeah, I will try to speak as softly as I can. I said the forbidden phrase for a second time right there. now we can officially begin talking about my review, my opinion on this story. And first of all, this is my opinion, and it's a positive review, but just clearing this up, right? It's my opinion. You can leave yours in the comments, and I will be glad to read them. We can begin with the plot of the story, and the plot, as I mentioned, is darker than before. The plot continues with the legacy from the Prisoner of Azkaban and leads with an external threat rather than an internal threat. So no longer are we exploring the catacombs of Hogwarts like in Book 1 or the other catacombs of Hogwarts like in Book 2. No, this time we are facing an outer threat, the threat of a contest that eventually leads up to the return of Voldy, like the villain, the main villain of the story. So this leads us more and more into an external conflict story, external conflict-led story, than an internal conflict-led story. So an equals we go from an equals to an equals. Though that's gonna be the acronym for now. Beautiful. And I really enjoy how J.K. Rowling develops this Eccles story. She does it in a very interesting way, how each challenge, each of the different sections of the tournament is more interesting than the last, especially the second one. The second one and the third one. No, I would rather say that the second one is the best, the third one goes in second place, and the first one, I really like the second one because in it we explore a part of the world that we had never known before. We explore the lake, and even though the lake has been there throughout the whole series at this point, it is also very ignored. It is ignored so far, except for the boat scene at the very beginning. We don't really see the lake anymore. And in this book, actually getting not only to see the lake, but to swim into the lake, into the very bottom of the lake, it is a very interesting experience. Seeing all the mermaids, or whatever they are, and having to rescue the person they love most, which in this case turns out to be the girlfriend they've been dating for 2 days, 3 days. The point is that it's a really interesting challenge, that one. The one with the dragon. It's fun. I like the dragon. Harry almost died there, and Madame Humphrey, she demonstrates later on that she's the only person in the whole school that has brains, that has brain cells that work, that has the slightest idea that children 14 to 17 years old should not be exposed to fighting a dragon. So the one with the dragon, it's interesting, not as great as, for example, the second one. And then you have the Labyrinth, which the Labyrinth is very, very weird, very bizarre. You have all these different creatures and all these different illusions and the vines that try to kill you and all this. It's interesting. It's mainly interesting if you are part of that, but I don't really see the point why you would go from fighting a dragon to almost getting drowned, almost drowning in the middle of the lake, to answering riddles for a sphinx. It's interesting, I like the concept, it's more bizarre. It's a little bizarre, that Labyrinth section, and let's just say that being a spectator in the Triwizard Tournament would be hell boring, just incredibly boring. I would not like being a spectator right then, because first of all, the first one, you would enjoy it. You just see your best friend being about to be killed and eaten by a huge dragon. Then in the second one, you just see them splashy, get into the water and nothing else for like an hour before they start popping out, and then another half an hour before Harry pops out. It's an hour and a half of waiting. I mean, that's horribly boring. And in the third one, it's even more boring, because in the third one, you cannot entertain yourself watching the lake, searching the lake for maybe your friend, or at least for a fish. If you catch a glimpse of a fish, no, you don't have that option. You do not have that option in the third one. You You can only sit there, watch the damned labyrinth, hope that one of those paths will open again and one of the competitors will appear. That's boring, and I would not like to be there. I would just skip class, skip the thing, and go to the library, read, explore the forest, anything but be in the tournament, really. So the only reason why you would have so many characters be in the tournament is because they had to be. It's obligatory. That's the only reason I see why people would actually go. And that means that Ron's family that comes all the way here to see the tournament, they have something in their head. Why would you do that? No. Yeah. It's very bizarre, that tournament. Yeah. Very boring. And now onto characters very quickly. This is getting longer than I expected. Characters, I really liked how interactions were developed here, especially between Harry Sirius and Harry Hagrid. And Ron, this wasn't his book. Ron did not only get mad with Hermione, he also got mad with Harry. He was a jerk for most of the story, and even though he was a jerk, Harry proved himself by giving money to Fred and George and telling them to give Ron clothes. So Harry, you're a good boy. Ron, not so much in this book at least. But anyway, those characters I really loved. I really liked how Dumbledore, he is more active in this book than he is in others. I think this is the book in which he is the most active, the most interactive with your characters. But especially, I believe that the character that needs to be mentioned the most is Moody / Barty Crouch. Barty Crouch, the first time you read the book, you really like Moody from the beginning. It is done so well that you really enjoy, that you really like Moody, that you like him as a character. However, when you read it for a second time and you know that he is evil in reality, that he is a Death Eater, you will realize that every single scene in which he was a good character was purposefully done so that he would appear good, but in reality he was gaining something else for himself. He was gaining their trust, for example, or he was getting to know more about them, or he was helping Harry to win the tournament so that he could go with Baldy. All these scenes, I really liked how J.K. Rowling developed them, and this goes cleanly with the narrative. And for the narrative, it's essentially the same. I just have one complaint, and it is why J.K. Rowling would you make it all Harry-centric? I would really have liked to see some chapters from Ron's point of view, or Hermione's point of view, or Dumbledore's point of view. It would have been really great, but no, every single chapter is just Harry, and this does not help us really make relationships like Hermione-Ron alone, or Hermione with Crumb in this book. That Harry-centrism does not let those relationships develop cleanly. So that's my only complaint for the narrative. And as for execution, I really like this book, the first YA in the series. Even though it's not my favorite, I do recognize that it is better at execution than the other three. So I will give it an 80 out of 100, 4 stars. I really liked it, and yeah, that's my. There are some things with the narrative, and essentially with the characters, I was really annoyed by Ron in this story. So yeah, I said it for the third time right there. I think it's the third time, but don't worry. So that is essentially everything for this episode. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and all the links will be down in the description, both for CASA ARTE México, Plática Artística, our podcast, it's in Spanish, also for you to get my books, and everything will be down below. Thank you so much, and I will see you later. Goodbye.